Welcome to IELTS.com. This is the first video in our reading lessons. Today's lesson is going to look at the notoriously difficult yes, no, not given questions. So as we can see, we have our yes and no on the cover. Couldn't find a picture with not given, so you'll have to settle for yes or no. Okay, so in this lesson, we're just going to walk step by step through the different tasks and the different things that you come up against. This video is going to be reasonably long. You don't have to watch it all in one part. You can stop the video at any time and you can revisit it. So take your time and watch it at your own pace. So we're going to look at another one of the more difficult elements of the reading test. These are the yes, no, not given questions. So first we've got to look at what our definitions are. Yes will be given if the information in the text agrees in meaning. So agrees in meaning means it will be paraphrased. So don't look for the exact same words. Occasionally some words will match, but on the whole, the meaning will be there, but the words will be different. So if the text agrees with the writer's opinion or belief, so we're not looking at facts here, we're looking at how the writer sees it or what the writer thinks about what the particular point, whatever's been talked about in the text. The answer is no if the information in the text contradicts in meaning, has the opposite meaning. Again, it will be paraphrased. Don't look for exact words like this is the opposite of. You won't find them. So if it means the opposite in meaning of the writer's opinion or belief, then we have to say it's no. Not given is if the information in the opinion is not covered or not mentioned in the text at all, then we have to say it's not given. How do we approach this task? In much the same way we approach most of the reading, by using a mixture of skills. Keywords: skimming, scanning, intensive reading. If you are studying for the exam, you will already know what these things are. So we're not going to explain them here. If you don't know, then there are plenty of IELTS sites where you can look up this information. When answering these types of questions, the answers usually go in the order of the text. So there is no need to return to the beginning of the text each time. Just proceed with each question. First, you need to know that the text and the statements will comprise different words or expressions, i.e., paraphrased. So let's look at some examples. Going to look at some yes statements here. For example, if you read a statement such as, 1 traveller in 5 is avoiding travel agents by buying holidays from home. While in the text, you might read a section which says, 20% of travellers are booking their holidays directly without help from travel professionals. Okay, so let's look at this. 1 in 5 equals 20%. 5 times 20% is 100. 1 in 5 is the same thing. Okay. Without the help from travel professionals, avoiding travel agents, they're the same thing. If I avoid a travel agent, it means I don't use them. If I do it without their help, it means I don't use them. Buying holidays. Buying can also be booking, because when you book a holiday, you're paying for it. So you effectively you're buying. But we often use the word booking. It's like, for example, you book a hotel room, you're paying for it. But you're not buying the hotel room because, well, you are. You're buying it for one night, effectively. So booking and buying can often be used as synonyms in this sort of scenario. Holidays from home. Okay. When we say booking directly, it means without going to a travel agent. It means they're doing it themselves. So even though these two things don't mean exactly the same, booking holidays from home means either by phone, you're ringing a company and booking it over the phone, or you're doing it on the internet. But you're doing it directly to the company without the help of a travel agent. So this is an example of a paraphrased yes answer. If you saw these two statements, sorry, the statement here, and then you read this in the text, your answer would be yes, because these have exactly the same meaning. So here's some notes underneath. As you can see, to arrive at your choice, you need to underline the keywords, which I've done. Use the nouns as a guide. Travelers, travel agents, holidays, homes. Okay, so travelers, travel agents, travel professionals, booking, buying, sorry, holidays and home, they're nouns. Follow the verbs, avoid, buy, avoiding, buying, and also booking. Finally, other grammatical expressions from home. Holidays directly from home means without going to a travel agent. So you have to look at these things and see how they match in meaning. Then you read the section with keywords to match the two meanings. If the sentence and the statement agree in meaning, then the answer is yes. Again, this takes a lot of practice. You can't do this once or twice and think, that's enough. I know how to do it now. No, you have to keep doing it until you know what you're looking for and you can get regular high scores in your practice tests. It's not easy, so don't think that it is easy. Okay, no statement. If you read a statement such as, this puts increasing pressure on Britain's estimated 9,000 agents, which have already been suffering from competition from low-cost airlines. But in the text, you read, after competition from low-cost airlines, business is now getting better for travel agents. Well, okay, competition from low-cost airlines. We have here competition from low-cost airlines. So that is there. But it says here, after competition from low-cost airlines, sorry, business is now getting better. So where does it say it's getting better? It doesn't. It says which have already been suffering from competition from low-cost airlines. So, and this sentence here also tells us this puts increasing pressure on Britain's estimated 9,000 agents. 9,000 agents are travel agents because we're talking about travel. Okay, so keywords here we don't need. Britain doesn't matter because this doesn't give us an indicator of where it is, but it's not important. Increasing pressure does need to be observed or need to be looked at because you're looking for something in this sentence that tells us, but there isn't anything in this sentence that tells us they're under pressure. There's nothing that tells us that they're suffering. This sentence tells us that business is getting better for travel agents. This sentence tells them they're having more pressure on them and they've already been suffering from competition. So this says the opposite to what this says. So we use the keywords listed above in the different colours, and we look at the synonyms and paraphrasing to decide if they have the same meaning. If we pick out the statement and text in orange, that should be orange, don't know why it's not, we can see that they have opposite meanings, which tells us that this is no. The most important thing to understand is the overall context of the sentence. Remember, the key words are there to get you to understand the whole sentence. You don't need to read the whole sentence. The key word should be enough for you to get an understanding of what the sentence is. And remember, all of the reading test is time-based, so you don't have too much time to sit there and analyze each word. That's why context, understanding the meaning, is very important, because you can do this more quickly. Not given statements. This is where the information from the text and the statement do not have any connection. The text does not reference the statement and vice versa. So, statement. Holiday companies say that customers are becoming more confident about booking packages by phone or over the internet. So we have our keywords, but the overall context of the sentence means customers are becoming more confident. They feel increasingly confident about booking themselves rather than having to use an agent, because the process has become easier and easier. Doesn't matter why, we're just looking at the sentence. Now it says more holidays are booked by phone or over the internet than by travel agents. Now the second sentence is a statistical one. It's saying that this is done more than the other. More holidays are booked by phone than by a travel agent. It doesn't say that in the first sentence. It doesn't even reference. There's no statistical information here. All it says is that customers are more confident, but we don't get any indicators of which one is being booked more. Internet, holidays, or phone. Sorry, travel agents or internet and phone. We don't know in this sentence, so it's not mentioned at all, so it has to say no. The text tells us that customers are more confident about a specific thing, booking. Okay, they're more confident about booking, keyword there, but does not tell us the figures or comparisons for booking by phone or internet against travel agents. So the answer here is not given. The text is specified, so the only other choice is not given. Okay. So as an example, we're going to work through a short text by way of an example. This is about Chinese visitors to the UK. We're going to read the text below and use some techniques to get the answers. So, last year's visitors from China were split fairly evenly between holidaymakers, businessmen, and people visiting friends and relatives. Britain's historic buildings and shopping are among the biggest attractions for holidaymakers, although the Visit Britain report highlights strong interest in Premier League football. London's shopping emporia satisfy the Chinese appetite for luxury goods such as Burberry, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton fashion items, and malt whisky. Import tariffs and taxes mean that such goods are 30% cheaper than the equivalent items in China, and they are less likely to be fakes. Other big factors in the rising tide of Chinese visitors are the increasing ease and cheapness of travel, as new airports increase flight capacity and the wider introduction by employees of paid leave and the easing of rules on taking money out of the country. In 2005, the UK was granted approved destination status, which opened up the market to groups on trips booked through licensed travel agents. So that's just a couple of paragraphs talking about Chinese visitors to the UK. Okay, so this is from an example paper, so we're looking at real questions. So we're reviewing the questions or the statements. The first one, Chinese women do not travel for business. Chinese travellers visit Buckingham Palace and the Tower of London. Whiskies are cheaper in Britain than in China. It is cheaper and easier for the Chinese to travel than in the past. There are more airports than in the past. More Chinese people can now travel because they are paid while on holiday. Okay, so techniques. Keywords. Use the keywords from the statements to focus on what to look for. Paraphrasing. Use different vocabulary. We know that. Oh, there's a 3 and a 3. Didn't see that. We'll change that. Number 3, synonyms are also used. Different words with the same meaning. Skimming, main idea. Scanning, specific words and expressions. Context reading. Understanding the sentence without knowing all of the words. So these are the 3 things we're going to be using. Or 4 things. So question 1, Chinese women do not travel for business. The statement says this. Keywords, Chinese, businesswoman, travel business. The text says, last year's visitors from China were split evenly between holidaymakers, businessmen, and people visiting friends and relatives. So here's the keywords again from here. The keywords which we found in the text do not mention businesswomen specifically, so the answer has to be not given. It says businessmen. When we say businessmen, often in English when we say businessmen, we are referring to businessmen and businesswomen, or we can often just be referring to businessmen, but there's no mention here of businesswomen, so it's not mentioned. We can't say yes, we can't say no because it's not there. So we have to say not given. Second one, Chinese travellers visit Buckingham Palace and the Tower of London. So Chinese travellers, Buckingham Palace, Tower of London. Britain's historic buildings and shopping are among the biggest attractions for holidaymakers. Now, it says, the information Buckingham Palace and the Tower of London are not stated. In the text, it mentions historic buildings, but not names. Yes? Historic buildings, these are historic buildings, but it doesn't mention them by name. There are many other historic buildings in London, so we don't know if people visit these 2 in particular. We know they do visit historical buildings, but we don't know for sure. So that has to be also not given. Question 3. Whiskies are cheaper in Britain than in China. Whiskies cheaper, Britain, China. Now, in the text it says malt whiskey. Such goods are 30% cheaper than the equivalent items in China. So 30% cheaper is true, so whiskies are cheaper, but the statement talks about whiskies, not malt whiskey. So we do not know if all whiskies are 30% cheaper. We only know about malt whiskey. As it says, malt whiskey is one specific type of whiskey. Whiskies means all types of whiskey. So the answer is not given. Okay, so these are just some of the examples. To complete the exercise, you can click on the link below and download the document. Answers are also supplied. We've done 3 questions. There are 3 more for you to practice. So please download the link. Yes, no, not given are among the more difficult questions. So you need to practice these regularly. Yes, the more you practice, the easier it will become because you'll be familiar with the text. Also, you've got to, as a part of this, reading academic texts is also going to be part of your practice because most of us don't read academic texts. Aside from doing IELTS teaching, I don't read academic texts because I have no reason to. Occasionally I might read something of interest, but most people don't read academic texts on a regular basis. So get used to reading them, practice reading them. Don't just read anything and think that will help you. Read the things that you're going to encounter in the exam. Okay, so thank you for this. Please, again, do the exercise. Go through this video. See how the answers are arrived at. Yes, what you've got to look at is the techniques. They're the most important thing. If you follow the techniques, you should be able to answer the questions. Yes, so that's the end of the video. Again, please subscribe if you like the video. If you subscribe, you will be told or notified, when more videos are added to the collection. And if you also would like some lessons, preparation lessons, please contact us and we can arrange preparation lessons for you. Thank you.